All right, so today we're going to talk about something fascinating. The two totally different ways we learn. One way is for kids, and the other, well, that's for adults. Let's dive in.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Why does a sticker chart work wonders for a first grader, but you'd get laughed out of the office if you tried it with your colleagues? We all kind of know this, right? That what gets a 6-year-old excited in class is completely different from what motivates a 30-year-old in, say, a work training. But what's the actual theory here? Why can't we just treat adults like bigger kids?
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to take a quick trip back to grade school. Then, we'll get into the two big ideas here, the technical terms. After that, we'll cover the 6 rules for teaching adults, see how these two methods stack up side by side, and wrap up with why all of this really, really matters. All right, first up, let's take a little trip down memory lane. I want you to picture your old elementary school classroom. You remember it, right? The teacher is up at the front of the room. They're the expert, the one with all the answers. And what about you? You're sitting there, basically like an empty cup, just waiting for them to pour all that knowledge in. For most of us, this is exactly how we learn to learn.
So, that whole teacher at the front model, it actually has a name. And to really get what we're talking about today, we need to define it, along with its counterpart for adults. Let's get our terms straight.
Okay, so that classic classroom model is called pedagogy. It's pretty cool, actually. It comes from the Greek words pedi for child and ego for guide. So you put it together, and it literally means guiding children. The whole idea is built around a learner who depends on the teacher for everything, for structure, for knowledge, you name it. And then you've got the flip side, andragogy. Using that same Greek logic, this one comes from endros, which means man or adult, and ago, guide. So, guiding adults. And listen, this isn't just a fancy new word. It is a completely different way of thinking. It's built for people who are self-starters, who already have a ton of life experience they're bringing with them. So what does that even mean, guiding adults? What does it look like in the real world? Well, it all boils down to 6 core principles. You can basically think of this as the playbook for how to actually teach grown-ups effectively. All right, here they are, the 6 big principles of adult learning. We've got the need to know, the learner's experience, their self-concept, readiness to learn, a problem orientation, and finally, intrinsic motivation. This is the bedrock of andragogy, really. It's all about understanding why an adult needs to learn something, using their own experience as a tool, and tapping into what drives them from the inside. Let's break these down. Okay, first up, the big one. Adults have to know the why. They're not just trying to pass a test, right? They need to see crystal clear how this new thing is going to help them in their real life, right now. Next up, their experience. This is huge. An adult's life experience isn't just background noise. It's a valuable resource. For example, a CNA who's been working with patients for years, they're not coming in as a blank slate. Their experience is part of the learning process itself. And number 3, self-concept. Adults have grown up. They've gone from being dependent kids to independent adults who want to be in the driver's seat of their own learning. All right, let's get to the last 3. First, readiness. For an adult, learning has to fit into their already packed life. Think about a working mom. She can't just drop everything for a 9-to-5 class. She needs something flexible, maybe online, that she can do on her own time. Then there's problem orientation. Adults want to solve problems. They're not interested in abstract theories. They want to learn things that help them with the challenges they're facing today. And finally, my favorite, intrinsic motivation. Yeah, this is where those sticker charts go right out the window. For adults, the drive comes from within. It's about wanting to feel more confident, getting that promotion, or just the pure satisfaction of mastering a new skill. It's about self-esteem, not a pat on the back. Okay, so we've got the definitions, we've got the 6 principles. Now for the fun part. Let's put these two learning styles head to head and see just how different they really are. And wow, when you see it like this, the difference is just night and day. Look at dependence. Adults are independent, kids are dependent on the teacher. The focus, for adults, it's about solving real-life problems. For kids, it's all about the subject curriculum, their resources. Adults use their own life experience, kids rely on what the teacher gives them. And then motivation, internal drive for adults versus external stuff like rewards and parent approval for kids. And all of this changes the teacher's role completely. Instead of being the expert, the teacher becomes more of a facilitator, a collaborator. So, the big question is, why does any of this matter? Why go through all the trouble of separating these two ideas? Well, it turns out this isn't just some abstract theory. It's super, super practical. I mean, think about it. If you're a manager trying to train your team on new software, or a professor teaching adults who are changing careers, or heck, even if you're just trying to teach yourself something new, you have to know your audience. If you treat adults like kids, you're going to get frustrated, disengaged people. And if you try to treat kids like independent adults, you're going to have chaos. Using the right tool for the job is absolutely everything.
You know, there's this quote that just sums it up perfectly. It says that Andragogy, teaching adults, demands that educators innovate and connect in meaningful and applicable ways and value the input and experience that adults bring. It's not about talking at people. It's about creating a partnership, respecting what they already know, and guiding them from there. So I'll just leave you with this thought. Now that you know the theory, the big difference between teaching kids and teaching adults, how does that change things for you? How might you change the way you learn or the way you teach? Whether it's at work, at home, or just for yourself, how can you use this? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.